The rain came down in sheets that night, the kind that blurred streetlights and turned the roads into black mirrors. Officer Emily Carter gripped the steering wheel of her patrol car as thunder rolled in the distance. It was nearing midnight, and she was on her last round before heading back to the precinct. The city outskirts were always the hardest. Gas stations closed early, and shadows seemed to move on their own. Emily had been on the force for only 3 years, but she already knew how dangerous the quiet nights could be. As she passed a run-down gas station, she noticed a flicker of movement, 3 men loitering near the dumpsters. One of them was trying to pry open a vending machine. Emily sighed. "Here we go again," she muttered, switching on her body camera and stepping out into the rain. "Evening, gentlemen," she said, her voice firm but calm. "Mind telling me what you're doing out here?" The men turned. Tattoos snaked up their necks, and their eyes gleamed with hostility. "Just mindin' our business, officer," one sneered, his breath reeking of alcohol. "This your business?" she asked, nodding toward the vending machine's broken panel. Before she could react, one of them lunged at her. The scuffle was fast. Emily blocked the first punch and grabbed her radio, but another man came from behind, slamming her against the wall. Her gun clattered onto the wet asphalt. The rain drowned out her cry for backup. "Think you can play hero out here, huh?" one thug hissed. "You cops don't scare us." Emily fought back, elbowing him hard, but there were too many. She went down, hitting the ground as a boot came down near her ribs. Her vision blurred. A dozen engines growled in unison, echoing through the alley. The attackers froze. From around the corner, a line of Harley-Davidsons rolled into view. Leather jackets, chrome glinting under the flickering gas station light. The Hells Angels. Emily blinked, trying to focus. She knew their reputation. Outlaws, rebels, troublemakers. They weren't supposed to help cops. But the sight before her didn't match the stories. The lead rider, a tall man with gray streaks in his beard and a jacket reading, "Hells Angels California, Nomads," killed his engine and got off the bike. His boots splashed through puddles as he walked toward the thugs. "What the hell's going on here?" he growled. One of the attackers tried to bluff. "Back off, old man. This ain't your..." He didn't finish. The biker swung once, and the thug crumpled. In seconds, the angels surrounded the others. The men tried to run, but they didn't get far. Emily watched in stunned silence as the bikers disarmed them, tying their hands with their own belts. The leader knelt beside her. "You all right, officer?" Emily blinked up at him. His eyes were sharp but kind. "Why yeah, I think so. Thank you." "Don't thank us yet," he said, helping her sit up. "You're bleeding." One of the bikers, a woman with a long braid and a leather vest, pulled out a first aid kit from her saddlebag. She knelt down beside Emily. "Hold still, sweetheart. We'll patch you up." Emily winced as the woman cleaned a gash on her arm. Why are you helping me?" The leader chuckled softly. "Contrary to what people think, not all angels have white wings." When backup finally arrived, the scene was surreal. Thugs cuffed and lined up, Emily sitting under a gas station awning with bikers standing guard. Her partner, Officer Jake Morales, rushed over. "Emily, what happened? Are you okay?" She nodded. "I'm fine. Thanks to them." Jake stared. "Them? You mean the Hells Angels?" The gray-bearded biker stepped forward. "Name's Hank Lawson," he said. "We were heading back from a veterans charity ride. Saw some trouble, decided to stop." Jake was speechless. Everyone in law enforcement had heard Hank's name. He'd been a Marine once, decorated, honorable, until his son was killed in a gang shooting. Rumor was, Hank left the army and formed his own brotherhood to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Emily shook his hand. "You saved my life tonight." Hank smiled faintly. "Nah, just doing what's right. World's already got enough evil." A week later, Emily visited the biker clubhouse with a box of donuts, the old-fashioned kind glazed with sugar. The men laughed when they saw her pull up in her patrol car. "Well, look who it is. Officer tough as nails." "Hey, I come bearing peace offerings," she said with a grin. They invited her in. The clubhouse wasn't what she expected. Photos of fallen soldiers on the wall, shelves filled with toys labeled, "For Kids Hospital Drive," and a big American flag over the bar. She sat with Hank, who was fixing a broken guitar string. "You know," she said, "when I joined the force, I thought I'd seen all sides of good and bad. But you guys, you changed how I see things." Hank nodded. "People love to judge what they don't understand. But kindness, it doesn't wear a uniform." Over the next few months, Emily and the Angels worked together on quiet community projects. They helped repair a local veterans shelter, escorted abused women safely to court hearings, and donated winter gear to homeless teens. People started noticing. The media caught wind of it. Female cop and motorcycle club joined forces to clean up the streets. At first, the police chief wasn't thrilled. "You're making friends with criminals, Carter." But Emily stood firm. "No, sir, I'm making allies against crime." And soon, the results spoke for themselves. Crime in the district dropped by 22%. One night, a local drug gang, the same one that had killed Hank's son years ago, ambushed a shelter where the Angels were volunteering. Emily was there, handing out meals. The attackers came with bats and knives, trying to scare everyone off. But this time, the Angels didn't back down. "Not tonight," Hank said, stepping forward. "You boys picked the wrong people to mess with." The fight was chaotic, but when sirens wailed in the distance, the gang fled. Emily chased down the leader, tackling him into a pile of trash cans. "You're under arrest," she shouted, cuffing him. When she looked up, she saw Hank standing tall under the streetlight, blood on his knuckles but a smile on his face. "Guess we make a pretty good team, huh?" he said. Emily nodded. "The best." After the gang bust, something changed in the city. The police started working closer with community groups, and for the first time, the Hells Angels weren't seen as outlaws, but protectors. Hank was invited to a city ceremony, where the mayor honored him for his bravery. Emily stood beside him as the crowd applauded. When it was her turn to speak, she said, "That night behind the gas station, I thought I'd met my end. Instead, I met hope, in the most unexpected form." Months later, on a bright spring morning, Emily pulled up again to the same gas station. The building had been repainted, flowers planted near the curb. A small plaque hung by the wall. "Greater than, in honor of the Night Angels, who chose kindness over fear." She smiled, touched the metal gently, and turned as Hank rolled up on his bike. "Didn't think you'd show up," he said. "I wouldn't miss it," Emily replied. He handed her a black leather patch, the kind worn on their vests. It had white wings and a red heart stitched in the center. "What's this?" she asked. "Our new tradition," Hank said. "Every year, we give one to someone who reminds us that being tough isn't about fists, it's about heart." Emily blinked back tears. "Thank you, Hank." He grinned. "Nah, thank you, officer, for showing the world that sometimes, angels ride Harleys." The engines roared to life as the sun broke through the clouds. And for the first time in a long while, the city didn't feel divided, it felt healed.